everyone, and welcome back to the Willy Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne, and you can find me on the web at my main website, which is woolywonkafiber.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as Willy Wonka Fibers, and you can find me on Ravelry at my Willy Wonka Fibers group or my personal pages, which my username is Bunny Spinner. This is a podcast about my knitting, spinning, my indie dye business, my design business, and all kinds of good crafty things. So if you are a returning visitor, thank you so much for choosing to come back and spend some time with me. And if you're a brand new visitor, thanks for checking me out. I hope you will find some fun things to convince you to stick around and join me again. Today is June 6th. It's a Monday, 2016. I hope everybody's doing great. I had a hermit weekend. It was wonderful. I did go grocery shopping, but other than that, I did not leave my house. I did some cleaning, did some tidying, tons of laundry from our trips, hung out and did some craft things. Got lots of stuff to share with you guys today, so we'll get going on all of that. I did want to mention a reminder that all in-stock roving in the shop is discounted 15% off the months of June and July with the coupon code TDF2016 to help you guys stock up for the Tour de Fleece, which is coming up the beginning of July. I've also been playing around with some colorways. I was inspired to do some things that are kind of summer country garden feeling. And if you look in the shop right now, actually under rovings, if you're a spinner, you'll see there's some things up there that are in that vein. But I also did some playing around this weekend with the end of one of my club fibers that I had from last year. This is 100% superwash merino singles, and it's I don't usually stock it in the shop, but I do think it's great for shawls. And I just had a handful of skeins left, like a kilo or so worth of yardage. So yeah, I made up some mini skeins, which will also be in the shop this week. And then I have 2 left. I did a sneak up on Instagram on Saturday of this new colorway, which is called Hyacinth. Let's try that. A little blown out there. There we go. That's just about right. This is a random dyed colorway, meaning the changes in the color happen at different times throughout the skeins. So this is some really soft pinks, a little bit of peach, a spring green, and kind of a dark bright pink. So I have these 2 skeins still available. They are up in the shop. And I probably will be doing some basic sock yarn with those as well. You can always contact me, hit me up for a custom dye if you would like that particular colorway on a specific base. And then I don't have any of these for sale because these are mine, all mine. This is a colorway that I developed this weekend called Bluebells. It's got lots of soft blues in it, as you might guess. Just a little bit of kind of a dark blurple, and then some green. And this will segue into things I'm working on. I have decided to join Helen Stewart's Shawl Society, which is a collection of patterns she'll be releasing over the next 6 months. Now, I think she's doing this as a knit along where you would knit a shawl every month, but that is not going to happen in my world. So the first pattern releases the end of this week. I think it's Thursday, the 9th. She sent out a kind of preview email that talked about amount of yardage, type of yarn, lace versus fingering, the different sizes available in the pattern. And I think I want to use this colorway. Come on, get with the program here, camera. There we go. For the very first shawl. So I will also be dyeing this colorway this week on some sock bases. If you love it, give me a shout out. I'll make sure to put one in the pot for you. But anyway, things I've been working on in the dye studio. Let's move on, or move back to some finished objects. Still working on projects for Stash Dash. So last night I finished up my fall 2016 design collection shawl. That's currently having a bath. I'll be able to show you that later on in the summer when we get closer to pattern release, but that's done. So I'm putting that in my finished objects information for the week. And that was a nice amount of yardage. I think it was around 675 meters. It was about 715 yards when it was all said and done. Then I finally got around to putting the cuffs on my espresso macchiato socks. These are knit from the Kiva colorway. Really is playing havoc today with the sun and everything else. That's still really dark. There we go. This is a self-striping colorway that I dyed up on my Ayrton sock base, which is the merino cashmere nylon. It's got even stripes of kind of caramel color, charcoal, this orangey red, and this charcoal or chocolate brown. Great little pattern by CC Allman. I knit the size medium, which is the 64 stitches, which fits my foot pretty well. It's got the 1x1 twisted rib, these great little eyelet patterns. And the thing that's nice about this particular pattern is you get to pick where you put the eyelets. So you can look at how your self-striping yarn stripes. I chose to put the eyelets on every row that had a charcoal color. The pattern, you could put it every, you could just put it here, so there's less of the eyelets, but I kind of liked it with more eyelets. And I did an afterthought heel on mine as opposed to the short row heel that the pattern is written for. But these are now finished. They are counting towards the Coffee with CC knit along. They are counting towards the Knitting Broomsticks Sock Club 2016. I'm going to keep these, so they're also going in my box of socks knit along that Kristen at the Yarngasm podcast is hosting. And of course, they're going towards Stash Dash yardage. So those are done. Then I had a little quick project that I just decided I wanted to get something else done this weekend and not have it as a work in progress. So this past January, I think it was December and January, Ginny over at Fat Cat Knits hosted a winter spin along, and the point of it was just to spin some Fat Cat Knits fibers, of which I have many, and participate in that. Easy, it just was a way to kind of work on some hand spun. So we posted our finished skeins, and she did a little prize drawing at the end of it, and I won a skein of her hand painted yarn, which was a bulky weight, thick and thin merino with a little kind of nylon binder, because it's got parts of it that are barely spun. And the colorway was Snow on Cedars, which I actually have as a roving. So here is, let me get this so you guys can hopefully read it. Here's the tag. Snow Falling on Cedars. Again, this was her Woolly Bear base, which is 100% wool. It is 137 yards and 4 ounces. If you guys know me at all, I don't usually knit with bulky. It's just not me. It's not something, I don't mind spending time on a project, so to me, bulky yarn doesn't really get me anything. I think you have to be very judicious with what you use bulky yarn for, so you don't wind up looking like the Michelin Tire Man if you make a sweater and it's kind of oversized. Perfect for a quick accessory though. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put this on the needles and I'm going to knit it, just knit it up. So what I knit was this cute little hat, which is called the Spin Cycle Hat, and I will link to that in the show notes. It's got kind of a diagonal yarn over and knit two together pattern, so you can see it sort of slants. And it's slightly open, but not super open. And it's not super tight like a beanie, but it's kind of more beanie-ish than slouch-ish, if that makes sense. I did add, because my row gauge was off with this yarn compared to the pattern, I did add one extra um, one extra set of 2 rows that's the pattern. So this is finished. D is for done, as a professor of mine used to say. And it's going into my charity box to go off to the Mittens for ACOL group for their November time when their group leader goes over to the orphanages and takes lots of warm woolies. Even though this has eyelets in it, if I stretch it out, you can see those a little bit better. Because it's bulky weight, this sucker is really, really warm. I was actually kind of surprised. But anyway, basic hat, basic pattern, great stash buster. I think it came to 80 meters, so I added that to last week's totals for stash down. Just keeping abreast of that, this past week, I decided, because Stash Dash ends on a Sunday, that I would count my weeks from Monday through Sunday. And that worked out okay for me, because if you remember last weekend when Stash Dash actually kicked off for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were traveling, and while I got a few things done, I really didn't get that much done, so it's kind of the lost weekend to start. So my current total for Stash Dash meterage is 2,014 yards. And I'm hoping, I think it was Laura of the Knit Girls, who's hosting Stash Dash, had left a comment in one of the chatter threads that if you were shooting for that 15K mark, which I think I am, the Crazy Pants group, then you need to get through about 1,300 meters a week, 1,300 combined meters of knitting, spinning in my case. So I did fine with that last week, and I just finished, it's waiting to be blocked, but I just finished that shawl that's almost 700 meters. That'll count for this week. So we'll see, because I have some big projects still sitting on the needles, which I'll get to in a minute, but 1,300 meters a week is a lot. Now the last finished object that I wanted to share with you guys, I don't actually have here because the sample is still with Interweave. But if you subscribe to Interweave Knits, you hopefully have gotten your summer issue copy. And this pattern right here, the Rosa Wrap, is the one I contributed to the pattern collection for the summer. And I really like what they've done with it. This is a worsted weight wrap. You can see here it's got, this section is lace, and then up here there's a cabled pattern. I think it shows sort of on those pictures. There are better pictures up on Ravelry. Again, it's the Rosa Wrap, and it was knit with Dream in Color Classy, which is their worsted weight in the In Vino Veritas colorway. It's actually a pretty quick knit. It's really, really fun to do. It takes 4 skeins. And for those of you who haven't run into this, or maybe were hesitant to go with the magazine purchase these days because you would have to get the whole collection, Interweave has now decided that they will sell patterns individually on Ravelry. I'm not sure if it's every pattern in every issue. You can still get the digital copy of the whole magazine through Interweave if you wanted all the patterns. But I do know that my Rosa Wrap is one of the ones that they've earmarked to have as an individual download. So if you love the wrap and want to knit it, you can pop over to Ravelry. Again, I'll link that in the show notes, and pick that up as a separate pattern. I really think that's smart. I'm glad that they've gotten on that train. I think it's a really, really smart move because, a lot of people work off their tablet in some fashion. They want to be able to download a single pattern and work off that. Maybe they don't love everything in the magazine. I mean, I think it's a good deal, and there are actually several patterns in here that I really like. The Mountain Retreat section, Mountain House Retreat section. There's the kind of preview of it. I love this vest. I would knit this. And actually, I like the guy sweater. My husband wouldn't wear it just because that I would wear it. So I mean, I still think that the magazine is a great deal if you've got a handful of things that you want to make out of it. But if all that suits you is one pattern, you know, go take a look on Ravelry and see if that one that you love is one that they've released as a standalone. I mean, you know, it doesn't take 30 seconds to do, and you might find something else to add to your summer knitting list. So anyway, I'm really, really happy with the layout and everything for that. The new editor, Megan Babbage, has been great to work with, and I actually have a project in the fall and the winter IK coming out. So more on that once we get there. So that's everything for finished objects. Yes, yes. So let's talk about works in progress. I am still working on the final project for the fall 2016 design collection. I have a sleeve to knit, and I've cast it on and I've started it, but I was focusing on getting that shawl done. So sleeve is my focus. That's going to be my power knit project for the week, because I want to get that done. Everything seamed, blocked, ready to go. I met with my model this weekend to try on some of the staging items, and all but one skirt fit her like I had custom made it for her. So I'm really, really happy, and I'm looking forward to working with her for that shoot. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. More works in progress. So let's see. First up is the other shawl I'm working on out of Deep Stash yarn. This is, the pattern is called Whirlwind Romance, and I'm knitting it from one of my absolutely ancientest, oldest stash yarns, which is Lisa Souza Sock. And it's in, let's see if I've got the tag with me. Sorry, while I dig through my bag. I do not. I can't remember the name of the colorway, but it's a really deep blackish purple. And so I am 1, 2, 3 repeats currently. And I've got little beads on it. I don't know if those will show up. Let's see if I can get the camera to get it spliced together. Kind of, sort of, no. Still not showing up so great, you guys. There are beads on it. They're really subtle, and even in this repeat, there's only 2 beads in each of those little lace motifs. There, you can kind of see them. They're right there. They're a sort of frosted silver with kind of pewtery lining. So anyway, I'm working on this, and I'd like to kind of focus on this as my secondary focus project, because I'd like to get this shawl off the needles, looking ahead to cast on for the Shawl Society project after that arrives. So I don't know that I'll get this finished this week, because I do have, you know, quite a bit left to go on the pattern, and to use up as much yardage as possible. But this will be my work on in the evenings project. I try to work on something after dinner that's not a work knit. Just, I don't know, it helps me kind of have the mental break from it. Seems weird, right? It's all knitting, but that's how my mind works, so go figure. The next thing that I'm working on that's in progress, so you guys may remember I had a bunch of self-striping colorways that were Valentine themed, as well as the February one that came out in February from the shop in the Colors of New Mexico group. And so I had started those, and I have one sock of 3 colorways finished. And then I had a whole bunch of design work proposals I had sent in that came back that people picked up. And so in the month of February, I had 3 adult garments, including 1 men's sweater on size 2 needles, and a set of accessories to get done, plus my March shawl club. So I got 1 sock done of each of these colorways, and then they just got put into a project bag, and they've been sitting ever since. So I thought Stash Dash might be a great time to kick myself in the butt and finish up these languishing projects, which are half done. You know, I've got half the yardage knitted, and I can count the whole yardage when I get the project done. So nothing to stop me. So that said, I have so many socks that I want to cast on right now that I'm having a really hard time focusing on like backing up and doing something that, you know, that has been sitting. I have to have a carrot. This is also how my brain works. I don't do so well with the stick. I do much better with a carrot. So what I've decided is for each of the 3 Stash Dash months, we've got June, July, and August, I'm gonna knit the second sock for each of these. And then if I get that done, I get to treat myself by knitting something else fun and interesting from Stash. I think that sounds like a pretty good trade-off, right? So let me show you what I've got going. This is the first of the Valentine socks, striped socks that I had. Just want to get these on sock blockers, the one that I've got done, just because I think it shows the heel and everything better. So here's the first one that I did. Red and pink, completely really inappropriate for summer, but I don't know. They're light. Maybe we can pretend. Definitely Valentine's Day colors though. Rhiannon sock base, 64 stitch sock leg. I did a picot cuff on these. I thought it was like a pretty little extra. I mean, nothing crazy, but decided on that afterthought heel and my normal toe. And I'm knitting these on US size 1, 2.25 millimeters. So here is sock 1 that is finished. And I cast on for sock 2 yesterday afternoon after I finished my shawl because I needed a little kind of non-thinking project. And that is where I am. I am through about half the sock leg because the leg has 4 of these. On the 4th one of these bright red stripes, I divide for the heel. So yeah, just about halfway of done the leg. So these will be my wait in line, nothing else going on, don't need to think about it too much, socks for the week. I'd like to try to get this one done, you know, relatively smartly so I can move on to something else. What that might be, haven't decided yet, but I got sock yarn burning a hole in the bins that I want to knit with. The next project that I've got going on the needles, I started this while I was on travel. And I'm really glad that I took extra sock things with me to work on while we were away for the family visit because we had all those crazy travel things. Sorry, putting this one on the sock blocker too. Obviously not prepared for this portion of the discussion today. Sitting in an airport and on a plane, this is perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now this sock is not totally done because you'll see I've got ends, but I have the first caramel latte sock done from the Coffee with CC Knits collection. It's a really, really fun pattern. It's got a really great texture to it that looks kind of like the decoration on the top of the latte. I'm knitting this out of a Stash yarn, which I think I have the tag for this one. I do. Picked this up at the Dallas Fiber Festival several years ago. It's a 2 if by hand yarn. It's their MCN fingering base, which is the merino cashmere nylon dyed by Maria. Sadly, 2 if by hand are not dyeing anymore, which gives me a big sad. This colorway, if you are familiar at all with the 2 if by hand, girls, Totally Maria. She was all about earth tones. So I really loved this. It's just really soft, warm browns and kind of some frosted pale colors in it, like a pale cream almost. So I thought that would be perfect for these socks. So I have sock 1 done, and I have started sock 2. And you can see how great that texture pattern is. For this one, I don't knit toe-up socks very often. I don't like how they fit usually. We'll see. This one's not too bad, but I decided I would cast on using the Turkish cast on for the toe of this one. And I remembered after I had cast it on that I don't like how it finishes. Let's see if I take it off the blocker. I don't know if it'll focus on that. I just don't like, this sort of nubbly bit there. So I did that one, as I say, with the Turkish cast on, and you know, knit the whole sock like you do. When I got to this one, I went back to a technique that I've used before, that my friend Miriam of Mim Knits had blogged about at one point. It gives you like a really smooth, and there's no bumpies on this one, and it also gives you a little bit more width right here. So I know this technique used to be up on her blog. I'll see if I can find it and link to it. But it's kind of like making the garter tab cast on for shawls, where you make like a little rectangle, and then you pick up around, instead of picking up around 3 edges, you pick up around all 4. And that's what makes the end of your toe. Anyway, I like this version better. We'll see how this one fits once I finish it. Totally loving the pattern. I am having great fun with it. It's like just complicated enough that it keeps you entertained, but it's not so like commando knitting. You can't pick it up and put it down and still find your place. So anyway, these are part of the Coffee with Cece along, and then they'll also go towards multiple sock knit-alongs. No real goals on this one. I'm just going to pick it up when I have time, interest, whatever, knit some rounds on it, and call that good. So that's percolating along. I'm reading my list here. So I think that that's everything currently on the needles. Let's move on to spinning. I have been trying to get myself back on the spin the singles during the week, ply on the weekend, start the week off fresh, which is how I've been trying to keep up with the spin a skein a week. That has worked pretty good, but then I got off track with the travel and the back and forth thing, and then I kind of didn't get caught up for a long time, and it's really thrown off my process. And so back on track, ready to start something new Monday, because I finished up, well, today is Monday, ready to start something new today. Whew, I'm gonna have just a little more caffeine here. Obviously I need it. Finished hand spun. So I spun the singles for this over the past week, and then I plied this weekend. This was the March, let me make sure that's right. Yes, the March 2016 club from Ocean Wind Knits. Colorway is it's bigger on the inside, and there is the inspiration photo. That's kind of all the magic that is Doctor Who. So Doctor Who themed, I guess I should say that. It's 100% BFL, and I spun this up into a 2-ply that has 344 yards in it. So it came out based on yardage, because it's 4 ounces, like a sport weight, but it's really more like fingering. I spun it very densely. And I think it's going to wind up being socks. I don't know for sure, but I really like the colors. Beautiful soft greens, a little bit of kind of burnt orange, and then some blues, kind of blue grays hidden under there. So this one is done. This is my contribution to the Knitting Broomsticks Doctor Who Along that's running all this month, the month of June. If I have time, I will pull out one of the other Ocean Wind Knits Doctor Who themed braids, but right now I am really concentrating on the Spin the Bin. And this was not a Spin the Bin fiber. So next up on the wheel, I'm going back to the bin, and my project for this week is a superwash Corriedale from Funky Carolina. I know I mention Carrie all the time. She's one of my favorite dyers, unfortunately no longer dyeing. This was, sorry, some crinkling, the December Winter Seasons Club from, I want to say like 2011 or 2012. I don't know, there's no date on it, just this little piece of sad little piece of paper. Anyway, the colorway is called It's All Understood. And what Carrie did for this month was she dyed up 2 braids. They have a lot of purple in them, which, you know, I'm fine with. But they aren't quite matchy-matchy. This one has a green in it, a lot more green. And this one has some blues in it and a little bit more black. So my plan for this, because I have 2 ounces of each of the colorways, is to spin 1 ply of each and then ply them together. Again, they'll probably be socks. Corriedale is really nice and bouncy. And I don't have any superwash Corriedale that I've spun, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to try that and see how those work. So that is going on the wheel this week. I'm going to try to get that done. I should mention this added to last week's stash dash totals, this particular braid. So that was part of that 2000-ish mark. So that's where I am with hand spinning. I do have 2 new acquisitions to share with you guys in the world of hand spinning, my 2 clubs that came. The first one is also Ocean Wind Knits. This is her May 2016 club. Now, she did February, March, and April of this year were Doctor Who themed. So I have 3 Doctor Who colorways, including the one that I just spun up. May, June, July of 2016 are going to be based on Camelot. So this month's colorway is the Lady of Shalott. And let's see if I can show you guys the inspiration photo. That. And here's the colorway. It is so, so pretty. 100% merino roving. And it's gorgeous, soft pinks, blues, a kind of blue-green, a little bit of peach, and some white in there. And it's so, so soft, so gorgeously soft. Oh, and I guess I should mention it is superwash merino, which I didn't even realize till just this second. More socks? I would love this as socks. Ooh, I think I might have to do that. Okay, have to quit magpieing on that. Not going to spin that right now. Working on Spin the Bin. I'm being dutiful. Okay, so that was the May Ocean Wind Knits club fiber. And then I got my club fiber from Three Waters Farm. This is, Marianne sends out her colorway like right on the 1st. So this is actually the June colorway, and it's called Blooming Treasures, and it's on 60% Polworth wool and 40% Tussa silk. Top of the month club. And here are those colorways. Also totally up my alley. It's got turquoise, it's got kind of a pink, some plum, some herb greens. Just gorgeous. Actually not whole, this end is not wholly dissimilar from what I have on currently. And this is not the first time I've commented on this, but I kind of like those together. I think Lori and Marianne must be sharing a dyer brain, or maybe it's seasonal colors. I don't know. They're both gorgeous. I love them. So I have those to look forward to, but for right now, those are hitting the bin, my storage bins. They're not going into my spin the bin project. I will get to them at some point. Like I said, I'm trying really hard to focus on my spin the bin. I think I'm not quite at the halfway point, and I really would like to be there or beyond by the time the Tour de Fleece is over. That's going to be my focus project for Tour de Fleece. So a reminder that that's coming up. We do have a Tour de Fleece group in the Willy Wonka Fibers threads, so please come and join us if you're interested in that. I'm looking through the other things. So in the show notes today, I will link to all the patterns that I've mentioned. I will link to the multiple various knit-alongs that I've been dipping into, so you all can be kind of up to speed with that. I should also mention that the Whirlwind Romance shawl I am knitting up for the Yarngasm shawl, lace knit-along. You can knit any type of lace, socks, shawls, cowls, sweaters, whatever. And that runs through, I believe it's the end of July. So I'll link to that thread in the notes as well. But it looks like that kind of covers us for today. I did a pretty good job managing to keep this down. It's part of the reason that I did that middle of the week podcast last week, because I didn't want to have to show you all of those finished objects, plus everything else, plus all of this. So I think we're kind of back on schedule with that. I will plan on recording again next Monday, which is the 13th of June. I hope you guys have a fantastic week until I talk to you again. We've had some gorgeous weather here, and lots of opportunity to get outside and enjoy the weather and enjoy some sort of summery things like grilling out and Friday afternoon cool glass of wine on the porch with some knitting. So I hope you guys can all take advantage of that. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Until I talk to you next time, have a wonderful week, some great crafting, and hope to talk to you then. Take care. Bye.